Says, yeah, I told her, I said, I'll pay it, in a matter of time.
With this next scene, I'm going to teach you a physical sign of lying that not a lot of people know. What's going on, guys? My name is Spidey and I'm an award-winning mentalist with a degree in social psychology, which means I'm really good at reading people and I understand the language of deception and lies. In this video, I'm going to break down footage of real people in court and tell you what someone like me looks for to know if they're telling the truth. And along the way, I'm going to teach you a couple of really cool secrets to catch someone when they're lying. All the footage you're going to see is from the TV show Judge Judy. If you don't watch the show, don't worry about it. There's no story, there's no continuity. It's just case after case after case, so you're already caught up. Also, I know there's rumors out there that there are actors on Judge Judy. That is incorrect. The audience that's sitting behind the people on trial, those are paid actors to fill out the room, to react, to look good, but the people on trial are real. These are real cases and her verdict is final and binding by law. Judge Judy also gets a lot of criticism for being very rough and sometimes unpleasant, but the reason I love to analyze her show specifically is because she is really good at asking the right questions, which is a huge part of catching liars. In fact, she often stops a lie before it even comes out, and we'll talk more about that in just a bit. We're gonna start with a case where a guy is being sued by his ex-girlfriend because he purposely vandalized her car, and this is Judge Judy asking him questions about who vandalized the car. Let's take a look.
You know who slashed her tire?
Yes, ma'am.
And who would that be?
Someone that lives back in Colorado.
And that's someone that you know?
Yes, ma'am.
And you know he slashed the tires because it was something that was your idea?
Not completely.
But partially.
Wow, what a great scene to start with. So there's a lot going on over here, and one of those things is what I said earlier, Judge Judy's really great series of questions. So this guy, in his head, his plan was probably to say he knows who slashed the tires, but to distance himself from that so he wouldn't have to pay for the damage. But she slowly brings him closer to the guy who did it by asking, you know who it is, and the reason you know this is because it was your idea. She's almost making it impossible for him to say, no, I had nothing to do with this. Now, I want to reiterate something I've said in other videos before. There isn't a single sign on this planet that allows you to know for sure that someone's lying. Normally, we have to observe a multitude of symptoms at the same time to give us confidence that deception is taking place. And in this case, we got a whole bunch. The first thing that happens when she asked that final question, which was this your idea? And that's how you know he's the one who did it. The first thing he did is he looked away. It's very difficult to look someone straight in the eye and lie. Some people can do it, but for most people, it's really hard. And on that one question, he looked away. It was the first time he looked away. You can look back at the footage, eye contact up until that question. The second thing that happened is the Now, hesitation is not always a sign of lying. Sometimes you're actually hesitating, you're thinking. But he has nothing to think about. It was either his idea or it wasn't. So that is what we call a non-answer statement. These are usually statements that buy us time to think of something, and in this case, the hesitation is that. And finally, his answer was not completely. This is what we call a qualifier. More specifically, we call it an exclusion qualifier. Basically, what that means is he's kind of answering the question truthfully, but he's also shifting the blame. So it's like he's not saying, yes, it was me. The answer is yes, it was my idea. But by saying not completely, what does that mean? An idea that's not completely his. They both had the idea at the same time? That doesn't even make any sense. So by saying not completely, this is a way to kind of answer the question, but it also doesn't answer the question. So the mix of hesitation where it's not necessary, shifting the eye contact for the first time, and a qualifier within his answer, to me indicates that it was entirely his idea to slash the tires. Judge Judy felt the same way. He had to pay the penalty. With this next scene, I'm going to teach you a physical sign of lying that not a lot of people know, that raises our confidence to know that not only is someone lying, but they're about to lie. But before we do that, do me a huge favor, guys. Hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on for more awesome psychology and mentalism content. So this guy is also being sued by his ex-girlfriend. I don't know what it is with these guys and their ex-girlfriends, but he is claiming that an amount of money that she gave him was a gift and not a loan, and that he doesn't owe her any money. Let's take a look.
I said that I was going to get hit with finance charges. She asked about what. I said, well, it was a 1 year, no payments, no interest, and that it was coming up, and that's how the conversation.
And that's what you said to her.
Yes.
And what did she say to you?
She said, that's not good that you're going to get hit with the interest.
And?
And she says, I can give you the money.
And?
And I says, yeah. I told her, I says, I'll pay it, in a matter of time.
So you could totally see Judge Judy right there at the end with her little confident smirk, because she knows at that moment that she got him. This is the thing about her. She's very confident and gets extremely obvious about the fact that she doesn't believe people. But let's look at what happened. In all those answers that he was giving, he was direct, he was confident, and then with that last question, what did you say to her? He completely fell apart. It was, I said, well, so there was all these non-answer statements, which I talked about earlier. These are just statements that don't answer the question and buy the person enough time to come up with something. Then at the end, he said, I'll pay her back in time, which again, we talked about earlier, is an exclusion qualifier. Basically, he's answering the question truthfully-ish, but he's also saying that, oh, there was no time, so, I could pay this in 50 years. So it's kind of like excluding the answer from the answer. But the first thing that happened is really, really interesting. So here's a little known fact about lies. When we lie, for most people, it triggers what we call in psychology the fight or flight response. What that means is that your body goes into survival mode and your entire system shifts and your blood goes to your main organs in order to assure survival. What that means is that the blood rushes away from your extremities, head, hands, and often that creates a physical response to where, because the blood rushes away, we tend to either touch or scratch those areas to stimulate them because we feel a tingle. When blood rushes away from somewhere, you feel an itch or a tingle. So anything along the lines of scratching the face, playing with the fingers, moving the fingers, fidgeting with the fingers is often a sign that someone is either lying or is about to lie. In and of itself, no, it could just be an itch. But when it's mixed with that mess of an answer he gave, with all the non-answer statements and the qualifiers and the and the I said, that's another one. I said. He never said that before. He's saying I said to buy himself time. So all that mixed with the scratch, to me, pretty darn clear that he's very well aware of the fact that it was a loan and he owes her the money. All right, now I'm going to do a test to see how observant you guys are. This is more about Judge Judy than anything else. I'm going to show you a clip where someone's going to say something and she's going to answer something that seems very insensitive, borderline cruel, but there's a very good reason she's saying this. Take a look.
I got into my new apartment in January, and it was just, I'm a single parent. I got into a new apartment. She helped me out.
Single parent, new apartment, that's your problem.
Right. Absolutely.
That's your problem.
Absolutely.
So this woman is basically giving her testimony and she says, I had just moved in, I'm a single parent, just to sort of give her life situation. And Judge Judy almost very insensitively says, I don't care, single parent, whatever, that's your problem. Whereas most of us, we're very sympathetic, like, oh, we feel sympathy towards that. She didn't, she shut it down. Let me know in the comments, I want to hear from you guys, why do you think that she did that? Is it simply because she's a mean person, or is there a reason she did that? I'll give you a clue. It has something to do with the tactic that people that are about to lie tend to use, and Judge Judy was basically saying, that's not gonna work, so we're not gonna go down that path. Let me know in the comments what you think it is, and as much as I can, I will respond to let you know if you got it or not. With this next clip, I'm going to dispel a very common myth about lie detection. This is something that a lot of people think is a reliable way to know when someone's lying, but it's absolutely not. So this is a student who's being, her dad is being sued because she's a minor, because apparently she stole a computer and she's claiming that she didn't steal it, that somebody else stole it and gave it to her. Here we go.
The name of the person who stole the computer. Did you tell that to the police?
Mm-mm.
Why not?
Because I don't tell on people I'm not.
Oh, you can tell me. First name, last name of the girl who stole the computer.
I've never talked to him. I only seen him once.
Oh, you know how I don't believe you? If your father chooses to believe you, he can. I don't believe you, because you know what you said just a moment ago? You said, I don't tell on people. So what is it? Is it that you don't tell on people, or is it that...
Well, I don't know him. I don't know the guy. I've only talked to him once.
No, I don't. Do you young people think that all people who are over 50 are morons? Is that what you think?
All right, so again, Judge Judy gets a trophy for this because she knows that it's a win-win for her. She asks this young lady, you know, did you tell the police? She says no. So she says, well, you're going to tell me. And now she puts that to the test because the young lady said, no, I didn't tell them because I'm not a snitch. So she puts that to the test and says, well, you're going to tell me now. And now the story changes to, well, I don't know their name. That is a giant inconsistency. And honestly, I wouldn't need that much more to know that this girl was lying. Usually you need, you know, like a cluster. And obviously my confidence would be a lot higher. Another thing I noted with her, we don't see it there, but in that episode, as she keeps talking, she's biting the inside of her mouth, which is, like I said earlier, a physical sign. But also typically when we're withholding information, we tend to bite the inside of our mouth. But to me, that inconsistency alone is a sign. But let me tell you what's not a sign. A lot of people believe that one of the best ways to detect a lie is to establish a baseline. In other words, to observe someone and see how they behave when they're telling truthful answers. And then if they shift or do something different, it means that they're lying. That is really, really incorrect. For the simple reason that a lot of things could have justified a change. Like if somebody crosses their legs when you ask a question, maybe they feel like all of a sudden they have to use the washroom. Or if they kind of do this, maybe it got a little bit cold. Or maybe your answer did remind them of something that makes them nervous, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're lying. A baseline does not allow you to know when someone is lying, but it does allow you to know when someone is not showing a symptom of a lie. Here's what I mean. This young lady, while she was answering the questions, was shrugging her shoulders like this. It almost looked painful the way she was standing. Now let's talk a little bit about shoulder shrugs. If both your shoulders go up at the same time, like this, pretty fast, it means you actually don't know the answer. You innocently don't have the information you're being asked for. If it's just one shoulder and pretty fast, that typically means you're not really secure about the answer you're providing. In other words, you might know something or you maybe don't know, it's not really sure. If both go up slowly and your head hunches down, this is typically feeling very insecure and unconfident, and it's almost like a protective and embarrassed stance. So the shoulders could tell us a lot. If you want to know a lot more about body language and what it could tell us, check out What Everybody Is Saying by Joe Navarro, one of the best books on body language, written by an ex-FBI agent. So this is just such gold in here. I will leave a link in the description. In the case of the girl on Judge Judy, her body language was that from the beginning of the case. She was like that the entire time. So that baseline allows me to know that there's nothing odd about this. It's not an indication of a lie. That's just the way she's standing. Now, if she was standing up straight the entire time and a question came and she kind of hunched down like this or did like a one-sided shoulder shrug, it might indicate something about her confidence and the way she's feeling, but it would not for sure tell me just that alone that she's lying. That's what I mean about the baseline doesn't tell me she's lying. There would have to be other symptoms for me to say there might be some deception going on here. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown of the thought process that we use to figure out when someone's being deceptive. If you want to learn a couple of really cool techniques to know if someone's lying to you and get the truth, check out this video right here. You could click it right there. It's also in the description, or you could just click right here. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought of this. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.